Well, it's been a really, really long time since I've done a video, and there are several reasons for that. But if I'm completely honest about why that is, it was just a lack of prioritizing on my part and procrastination, finding many, many other things to do just to stay busy. And the question I want to put out there to you today is, what has God called you to do that you've been putting off? What has God called you to do that you haven't done? And this is a question that honestly has kind of plagued me, for lack of a better term, for the last couple of years, because I know there's things that God has called me to, and I've just got myself wrapped up in doing other things, and taking the mindset of like, well, if it's work for the kingdom, it doesn't matter. I'm doing something for the kingdom, right? Where that's not the case, because if I'm completely honest with myself, not doing what God has asked me to do is disobedience. And that, of course, is not pleasing to the Lord. So I'm coming to a place of really heartfelt repentance for putting off what God has asked me to do. And it kind of all came to a head like last Friday. I was watching a video by Mike Signorelli, and kind of the key phrase in there that caught my attention was, are you always feeling exhausted? And while the last, several months, I haven't really felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. Prior to that, the last few years, I felt like that all the time, like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. Why am I so exhausted? It's not like I'm doing a ton of manual labor, or, I mean, we go through seasons where life is just more busy and our work schedules are more hectic, but it just didn't make sense to me. And I had, little desire for, things in life that were, I enjoyed. And it was just like I wanted to just like zone out and not think about things and just do what had to be done and fulfill the expectations that other people had, of what I needed to accomplish that day or that week. So it really brought me really far away from where I needed to be with what God has, asked me to do. And as I was listening to that video by Mike Signorelli, there were a lot of key points that were just like totally spot on for me. And then he came to a part on self-sabotaging. And if you were to ask me, are you self-sabotaging, and you don't want to be successful, I would say, well, heck no. Everybody wants to be successful at what they do, right? So why on earth would I self-sabotage? But he also brought up that, many of us do it without even realizing that we're doing it. And when he said that, it got my attention. I was like, okay, let me see what he's talking about here. Because there's a lot of aspects of my life that it's like, I don't feel like I've been very successful. So I listened to it, and, he said, many of us self-sabotage without even realizing it, because we're afraid of success, not because we're afraid of failure, because failure is familiar to us. We know how to handle it. We know what to do with it. Where success, on the other hand, if we haven't had many of those in our lives, maybe that is what we're fearful of. And that really struck a chord with me, because I am very, very familiar with failure. I know how to handle it. It's not like I just totally give up and it's like, oh, well, there are things, yes, that on occasion you just need to be like, okay, I tried it and that is definitely not for me. Time to move on to something else. But when I really thought about, am I afraid of success? there were elements of that that rang true for me. Because I think with success, when we're successful at something that God has called us to do, there's also an aspect of like leveling up. And with that, there's also a higher level of accountability. And it's like, do I want to be accountable to, you know, on a higher level? Do I want to be accountable to other people? You know, what does that mean as far as, you know, putting something else on the already really long list of things to do? We're going to be adding more to that if there's another aspect of accountability that comes with that. So when I thought about it that way, I was like, you know, because I kind of had a prompting of like, maybe I should sign up for this class. And as I sat there and pondered it, it was like, well, if I sign up for this class, then I'm committing financially. You know, I'm going to have to be accountable to other people. Where right now I can just kind of coast through life and, you know, only be accountable for those things that are, you know, already commitments and, you know, not adding something else to the plate that, you know, it's like, okay, now there's this stuff that needs to be done. And the more I pondered it, the more I realized I was like, okay, this is a real thing for me, and I am making up tons and tons of excuses to basically be disobedient to what God has asked me to do. So I just want to, you know, kind of put this out there because I'm sure I'm not alone. There's probably others of you out there that have, you know, God has asked you to do something and you've put it off for various reasons. And, you know, I just want to encourage you. I am actually making a commitment now to like, okay, God, I'm going to stop ignoring you. I'm going to stop trying, you know, filling in space and time with 110 other things that need to be done. And using that as an excuse not to do what you've asked me to do. So I hope this is a word of encouragement for you. And if you're looking for somebody to kind of be like, you know, I need somebody to just kind of, you know, be an encouragement to me and hold me accountable for moving forward, drop me a line and let me know, because I kind of need that too. Left to my own devices and not having somebody who's there to like push me and challenge me, I'm more apt to put things off. So God bless you and have a wonderful day.